The University of Georgia UGA, or Georgia, is a public land-grant research university with its main campus in Athens, Georgia. Founded in 1785, it is one of the oldest public universities in the United States. The flagship school of the University System of Georgia, it has been ranked by major institutional rankings among the best public universities in the United States. The university is classified among R1 doctoral universities, very high research activity, and as having more selective undergraduate admissions. The most selective admissions category. The ACT Assessment Student Report places UGA admissions in the highly selective category, the highest classification among public universities. The University of Georgia is one of the nation's top 3 producers of Rhodes Scholars over the past 2 decades. In addition to the main campuses in Athens with their approximately 470 buildings, the university has 2 smaller campuses located in Tifton and Griffin. The university has 2 satellite campuses located in Atlanta and Lawrenceville. The total acreage of the university in 30 Georgia counties is 41,539 acres. The University of Georgia's intercollegiate sports teams, commonly known by their Georgia Bulldogs name, compete in National Collegiate Athletic Association NCAA Division I and the Southeastern Conference SEC. Notable alumni and attendees include current and former members of the United States Senate, members of the United States House of Representatives, federal judges, Rhodes Scholars, Marshall Scholars, MacArthur Fellows, the Genius Grant winners, as well as Pulitzer Prize winners, a United States Poet Laureate, Emmy Award winners, Grammy Award winners, and multiple Super Bowl champions. In 1784, Lyman Hall, a Yale University graduate and one of 3 medical doctors to sign the Declaration of Independence, as governor of Georgia, persuaded the Georgia legislature to grant 40,000 acres of land as an endowment for the purposes of founding a college or seminary of learning. Besides Hall, credit for founding the university goes to Abraham Baldwin, who wrote the original charter for University of Georgia. Originally from Connecticut, Baldwin graduated from and later taught at Yale before moving to Georgia. The Georgia General Assembly approved Baldwin's charter on January 27, 1785, and the University of Georgia became the first university in the United States to gain a state charter. Considered one of the founding fathers of the United States, Baldwin would later represent Georgia in the 1786 Constitutional Convention that created the Constitution of the United States, and go on to be President pro tempore of the United States Senate. The task of creating the university was given to the Senatus Academicus, which consisted of the Board of Visitors, made up of the governor, all state senators, all superior court judges, and a few other public officials, and the Board of Trustees, a body of 14 appointed members. The first meeting of the university's Board of Trustees was held in Augusta, Georgia, on February 13, 1786. The meeting installed Baldwin as the university's first president. For the first 16 years of the school's history, the university existed on paper. By the new century, a committee was appointed to find suitable land to establish a campus. Committee member John Millage purchased 633 acres of land on the west bank of the Oconee River and gave it to the university. This tract of land, now a part of the consolidated city-county of Athens-Clarke County, Georgia, was then part of Jackson County. As of 2013, 37 acres of that land remained as part of the North Campus. Because Baldwin was elected to the U.S. Senate, the school needed a new president. Baldwin chose his former student and fellow professor at Yale, Josiah Meigs, as his replacement. Meigs became the school's president, as well as the first and only professor. Meigs opened the school with no building in the fall of 1801. The first school building, patterned after Yale's Connecticut Hall, was built the year later. Yale's early influence on the new university extended into the classical curriculum, with emphasis on Latin and Greek. By 1803, the students formed a debate society, Demosthenian Literary Society. Meigs had his first graduating class of 9 by 1804. In 1806, The school dedicated the first legacy building, Franklin College, named after Benjamin Franklin. The building is now known as Old College, after the tenure of the next two presidents, John Brown, 1811 to 1816, and Robert Finley, 1817, a time frame that saw enrollment drop. Presidents Moses Waddell, 1819 to 1829, and Alonzo Church, 1829 to 1859, worked to re-engage new students. By 1859, enrollment had risen to 100 students, and the university employed 8 faculty members and opened a new law school. During this time frame, the university erected the new college building, followed by the chapel in 1832. Church was the longest-serving president in UGA history. In 1859, the state legislature abolished the Senatus Academicus, leaving the Board of Trustees as the only official governing body. When Church retired, Andrew A. Lipscomb was appointed to the newly renamed position of Chancellor in 1860. UGA closed in September 1863 due to the Civil War, and reopened in January 1866 with an enrollment of about 80 students, including veterans, using an award of $300 granted by the General Assembly to former soldiers under an agreement that they would remain in Georgia as teacher after graduation. The university received additional funding through the 1862 Morrill Act, which was used to create land-grant colleges across the nation. In 1872, the $243,000 federal allotment to Georgia was invested to create a $16,000 annual income used to establish the Georgia State College of Agriculture and Mechanic Arts A&M, initially separate and independent from the University of Georgia. However, A&M funding was considered part of the university, which helped save it from bankruptcy during the Reconstruction era. As a land-grant school, UGA was required to provide military training, which the university began to offer in the 1870s. The university's extracurricular organizations began in the late 1800s. In 1886, fraternities at UGA began publishing the school's yearbook, the Pandora. The same year, the university gained its first intercollegiate sport when a baseball team was formed, followed by a football team formed in 1892. Both teams played in a small field west of campus, now known as Hurdy Field. The Demosthenian and Phi Kappa literary societies together formed the student paper, the Red and Black, in 1883. In 1894, the University of Georgia joined 6 other southeastern schools to form the Southern Intercollegiate Athletic Association. The turn of the century brought many changes in the administration and organization of the university, including the naming of a new chancellor. In 1899, Walter B. Hill became the first UGA alumnus to lead the university, a progressive leader, his 6-year tenure, before his death from pneumonia. UGA, with increased enrollment, expansion of the university's course offerings, and the addition of state funding through appropriation, for the first time, bringing the university's annual income to over $100,000 in 1902. Hill and his successors David C. Barrow, Stedman Sanford in 1932 to 1935 would grow the school to take on the role of a true university. Many of the university's schools and colleges were established during Barrow's tenure. The College of Education, 1908, the Graduate School, 1910, the School of Commerce, 1912, the School of Journalism, 1915, and the Division of Home Economics, 1918, were all established during this period. In 1906, UGA also incorporated the College of Agriculture by bringing together an M. Agricultural and Mechanical courses. The College of Science and Engineering continued. As formed in the previous century, Connor Hall became the first building built in South Campus, and first of several buildings that housed the university's agriculture programs on what came to be known as Ag Hill. In 1914, the first Phi Beta Kappa chapter in the state of Georgia was founded at UGA. In 1923, another honor society, Phi Kappa Phi, established a chapter at the university. In 1920, UGA's athletic program was among 14 of the 30 universities to leave the SIA to form the Southern Conference. With students limited to white males for the first century of its history, the University of Georgia began admitting white female students during the summer of 1903 as postgraduate students to the State Normal School, established in 1893 a few miles west of the campus. When UGA established a graduate school in 1910, female students were permitted to attend summer classes, and some were also unofficially allowed to attend regular classes as well. At that time, only junior college transfers majoring in home economics were integrated into regular courses. Before official admission of women to the university, several women were able to complete graduate degrees through credit earned during the summer sessions. The first white woman to earn such a degree was Mary Dorothy Linden. She received a Master of Arts degree in 1914. Women were admitted as full-time undergraduates in 1918. Mary Ethel Cresswell earned a Bachelor of Science in Home Economics in June 1919, the first woman to earn an undergraduate degree at the university. 2 UGA dormitories were later named after these graduates: Mary Linden Hall and Cresswell Hall. In 1932, the reorganization of the university's administrative structure continued through the establishment of the University System of Georgia, which brought UGA, along with several other public colleges in the state, under the control of a single board of regents. January 1961, Georgia state law required racial segregation in publicly funded higher education. On January 6, 1961, the district court mandated that UGA immediately admit 2 African American teenagers, Hamilton E. Holmes and Charlene Hunter, who were denied admission in 1959 on the basis of race. The court order was quickly followed by an injunction preventing the enforcement of the segregation mandating state law. On January 11, a riot formed outside Charlene Hunter's dormitory window, which shouted racial insults and tossed firecrackers, bottles and bricks at the dormitory window. Dean Williams suspended the 2 students for their personal safety, but they returned to classes on January 16, following a court order. The university faculty subsequently formed a night patrol to help ensure the peace. Holmes graduated Phi Beta Kappa and was the first African American student to attend the Emory University School of Medicine, where he earned his MD in 1967 and later became a professor of orthopedics and associate dean at Emory, the medical director at Grady Memorial Hospital. Hunter graduated with a degree in journalism and was awarded 2 Emmys and a Peabody for excellence in broadcast journalism, commemorating the 40th anniversary of when Holmes and Hunter walked through the arch and into the academic building to register for classes on January 9, 1961. The university renamed the campus building where they registered as the Holmes-Hunter Academic Building. The university now presents the Holmes-Hunter Lecture Series, which brings noted African American speakers to the campus each year to discuss racial issues. UGA is among the top-ranked universities in the U.S. for the number of students studying abroad, with more than 100 programs in about 70 countries, and 25% of the student body participating in the program before graduation. The Georgia Bulldogs football program represents the University of Georgia in the sport of American football. The Bulldogs compete in the Football Bowl subdivision of the National Collegiate Athletic Association and the Eastern Division of the Southeastern Conference (SEC). The UGA play their home games at historic Sanford Stadium on the university's Athens, Georgia, campus. Georgia claims 3 consensus national championships: 1940 to 1980 and 2021. While the AP and coaches polls have each voted the Bulldogs the national champion twice, 1980 and 2021, Georgia has also been named the national champion by at least one polling authority in 4 other seasons: 1920, 1927, 1946, and 1968. The Bulldogs' other accomplishments include 16 conference championships, of which 14 are SEC championships, second most in conference history, and appearances in 59 bowl games, second most all-time. The program has also produced 2 Heisman Trophy winners, 5 number 1 NFL draft picks. The team is known for its unique traditions and rabid fan base. Known as the Bulldog Nation, Georgia has won over 850 games in its history, placing them 11th all-time in wins, and has finished in the top 10 of the AP poll 26 times, 13 of which were top 5 finishes.